maternity leave here, and then my children, who are now 8 and 6, they went through the whole sort of preschool system here, and I've nothing but good things to say about it. It's an awful lot different from the way things are organised in Ireland, and indeed during the boom years when we sort of looked at maybe moving back to Ireland when we had children, we figured that it wouldn't make any economic sense whatsoever. And then the other thing that you would worry about is that here in Sweden there's actually a very good philosophical and educational ground to the whole thing. The foundations are very, very strong, and I kind of found that a little bit lacking in what we saw in Ireland at the time.
So tell me, first of all, to be crass about it, what are the costs like?
Cheap as chips. It's about, the first child I think is about just under €150 per month. So most of it is very heavily state subsidised. It's your tax dollars that pay for that. The second child then I think it's around about 95. So having the two children in there cost me around €250 a month, as opposed to maybe 12 or 1400 that it would have cost me if I was still living in Dublin. The way it works is that the taxes are obviously taken in by the state on a national and a regional level, and then they redistribute that money. So each child, there's about 10 grand follows each child from the age of 1 to 3, and about 8 grand that follows a child from 3 to 5, and that then goes to a healthcare provider. It could be state owned, it could be privately owned, but that money follows them around and they get childcare to that value then. So on a personal level, society sort of splits the cost, but on a personal level it was very, very cost effective for me and my wife.
And on the things, the issues like how the children are treated, what the atmosphere is like, I mean, take the point that nobody will love your child more than yourself, but that there is somebody who likes children involved in it.
Yeah, I was listening to the discussion prior to that, and I heard the word vocation mentioned a lot, and I haven't a single bad word to say about the people who looked after my children. They're heroes to me and heroes to the kids still. I met one of them last week and they still talk about them. But the big difference I find is the education and training that they receive. You cannot go in there unqualified and hope to get anything other than very, very casual work. About 50% of the people who work with children under the age of 6, about 50% of them in Stockholm are qualified preschool teachers. A qualified preschool teacher in Sweden has a university degree. The rest of the staff there, who are full-time permanently employed, all have educations as nannies. A lot of the last 3 years in high school here, from the age of 16 to 19, you choose something that's going to help you out in the job market. So the nanny education will be part of that. Young girls or young lads will choose to study this, and then they will go on into the childcare system. So they're very much sort of indoctrinated, or very, very well taught about pedagogy, about childcare, about the physiology of it, about the psychology of it. So they have a very, very strong foundation again to build on. And they're not basically taking people in off the street.
One other thing, Philip, at what age do babies or children go into that system?
Usually, because of the fact that parental leave here is so generous, Marian, it's usually from a year old and upwards. If the child has special needs,
I can see envy on the faces of so many people around this table. It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it?
Well,
and how well paid are the staff?
The staff are quite well paid, and it's again, if you have a university degree and you're a preschool teacher, you have a commensurate salary, so it's quite well paid. It's an expensive system, right enough, but I mean, unfortunately, you get what you pay for.
Right.
So it's well worth it to me. And to be honest, if they doubled the fees in the morning, it cost me €500 a month, I'd still pay it, because that's what it was worth to me and more.
So would Connor, I'd say.
Jump at the chance to pay 500.
He's a celebrity now. He's a celebrity. He can afford it now.
I mean, at the Early Childhood Ireland AGM just there a few weeks ago, the Minister said we had to find the Irish system that was going to work. We can look at all the other systems.
Yeah.
But we were going to have to find an Irish system that would work for Ireland.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we are.
Well, you see, to have parental leave of a year is just like heaven, isn't it?
I would say that if I was giving advice, I would say, yes, that's what we should be doing. We should be trying to support parents to stay at home with their children until they are a year old or even 15 months old.
Yes, given the costs now for people to put children in creches, there is an image abroad now that people like you are making an absolute fortune.
Well, like the country, I'm in a program with my bank at the moment. I had to call all my staff in 2008. I have 78 staff. I had to call them all in and sit down and say, right, how can we keep jobs? And we work together to do that. But we're still in a program with our bank, and that's where we are. We're not making a fortune.
Can I actually just cut in there, Marion, just to say as well, he's talking there about the amount of money that follows the child, depending on this, which is extraordinary. I mean, I think Ireland, the figure is it's 0.2% of GDP is spent on preschool learning and education and training and all the rest of it. Now that compares to the UK, where there's 1.1%. That shows, and that's nothing, nothing near what happens in any of the Scandinavian countries. So that's, what the government regards as important, when you want to look at it like that, and these are, your children of the future and all the rest of it, and, you can throw out as many kind of quotes like that as you want, but at the end of the day, obviously there's very little regard paid to what is being put into preschool education. It's all lip service as far as I can see, without any big follow through or any kind of joined up thinking.
I've tried to follow through on it on numerous occasions. I've met 4 ministers of children before this that have been in my centres on the whole thing of quality of care in early education and on training. And unfortunately it just seems to continue to fall on deaf ears. Because you could see it, when you work in it, when you're interviewing people, you can see it.
I think we cost 10 million, I think, annually extra to bring up all childcare workers to the FETEC level 5, which is the basic childcare qualification.
I know it has been said in the media and everything else that only 50% of people working in creches have qualifications. That's not necessarily true. The regulation requires 50% to be trained. But the majority of centres will actually have people with at least FETEC level 5. But it's not good enough.
But I would much prefer, and I know it's important to be trained, but I would much prefer a caring worker, a woman who kindness to somebody who's trained. Because as Marion said again, you can have somebody who doesn't particularly like children, but they're trained, And I think, though, that, again, congratulations for that programme. I think it is I think we are a caring, I know we tend to flatter ourselves as a nation, but we are a caring nation, and we've proven that in other areas.
Well, we've also proven ourselves to be spectacularly bad at it too. If you take the institutions and the abuse of kids and all that, very peculiar
But
attitude
aren't we washing our way away from all of this now? And isn't childcare going to be better in the future because of this? And haven't we just need, as you say, we need to get the system. And my belief is, if you can get it that is more vocational, and if you can get the not-for-profit out of it as much as possible, and if you can get that care, that level, you have 4. I don't think you could manage it if you had 22.
I don't think I could manage it if I had 22 either. And I mean, it is down, as I say, it's getting the right people. It's finding, and at the interview stage, you have to follow up all the time and knowing there are so many, and I just like to say this, I mean, the people working in this sector, the people who really care, who love, who pick up the children, who hug them, who rock them to sleep and sing them songs.
That's the one. That's what you were all looking for.
This does go on every day in a vast amount of creches all over this country. But we need to look at the funding for the under 3s as well as the funding for the over 3s. And I have no doubt that this will be a catalyst to actually improving services all over the country. And I sincerely hope that the Minister will take up the gauntlet and let's get a system, an Irish system in place that we can be extremely proud of.
Yeah, the interesting thing too might be to look at the costs involved if you increase parental leave. Because, I mean, most people take the maximum that they can get. Anyway, it's after 12. I have to go to the newsroom, and Michael Murphy.
Good afternoon. Police in Northern Ireland have named the 2 people who died in a drowning tragedy in County Down yesterday evening. They were 15-year-old Kevin O'Hare from County Down and 39-year-old Colin Poland, who was from the area but who lived in England. An investigation has been launched into the incident, which occurred at a disused quarry near the village of Annalong. It's believed the teenager got into difficulties while swimming and that the man had been attempting to rescue him. Anti-government protests in Turkey appear to have subsided after 2 days of angry confrontation between police and demonstrators in a number of cities. The Turkish authorities say nearly 1,000 people were detained. Istanbul's central Taksim Square, which was the main focus of the protest action, is reported to be calm today after riot police withdrew from the area. Diplomats at the United Nations say Russia has blocked a draft declaration expressing concern over the situation in the besieged Syrian town of Qusair. A government offensive against the rebel-held city has continued for more than 2 weeks, and residents are trapped with little food, water or medicine. Both the United Nations and the Red Cross have issued appeals for access.
RTE Radio 1 weather with Continental Tires, keeping your car firmly in contact with the road this weekend and every weekend.
Munster will